Yo, what is up, everybody? Back again. Y'all already know what
Nail,
it is.
play that shit.
Oh yeah!
Oh man, this man got the background.
You already know, man. Get that money, man. Get that money. Take to the house. Ain't no easy money. Easy money. Well, it should be easy money, but like
Look,
I
knock
said,
on wood, knock on wood.
Look at the rookies we drafted. We got Dean and we got Davis. Two from Florida. It doesn't get better than that shit.
yeah, put that shit up.
As Ricky Bobby said, if you ain't first,
You're
you're
last.
last.
Exactly.
Second place is at 2.
Definitely gonna make up for it.
Trust me. I need a sports podcast, man. I need it. We out. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the I Need a Sports podcast. You already know what it is. My guy Kim, myself Bryce, host with the most, man. Wrapping up NFL Super Wildcard Weekend. What a weekend it was. Some great football. Had some great picks. Had some not so great picks. But we're gonna touch on all of that, man. It was some close games this week. It was some teams that probably should have lost that escaped. But I mean, it is what it is. It's playoff football. Every turnover, makes a difference. It can swing the game literally. Example, Huntley fumbling on the goal line and literally giving the Bengals that game. Because I think if Huntley scores there, Ravens probably get the upset, low key. But yeah, man, some crazy football. Definitely hop into the first game. A game that, I mean, I don't know why. I know why people were kind of skeptical, but at the same time, they shouldn't have been skeptical. Seahawks 49ers, the first game that happened Saturday afternoon in the Bay. Brock Purdy's first playoff game, Mr. Irrelevant turned Mr. Relevant. He played a great game. I mean, he had some throws in there where it's like, ooh, probably got away with that. And this, this weekend against the Dallas team, that probably won't fly. I mean, he got the job done. Seahawks were keeping the game close. I know last week's pod, I was, telling everybody, be careful. Pete Carroll, third game versus 49ers. And I think, didn't they go into halftime leading, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were up at half by 1 point. And, they had the 49ers on the ropes, but then in 49ers fashion, as it's been the second half of this year, in the second half, that defense completely shuts down. I think it's only been I think the Raiders might have messed it up a little bit, but I would say if you count out the Raiders game they played a couple weeks ago, I think that defense has only given up 2 touchdowns in the second half, the last 8, 9 games or so, something crazy like that. They really bear down that second half. And then they got on Seattle and forced some turnovers. Geno, he made some stupid plays that kind of, screwed the Seahawks over. Yeah. And like we were saying, man, turnovers in the playoffs count times 10, can literally flip a game. And although, Geno, he had a great year by his standards. He got the Seahawks to the playoffs. I still think Seattle would be dumb to not take one of these top quarterbacks. I'll say if it's Bryce Young or CJ Stroud available by the time they get, I think they got the 5th pick from the Broncos, the 3rd or 5th, something like that.
Something like that.
If one of them are available, you take him and you probably, let him learn this year, this upcoming year behind Geno. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's still Geno Smith. He's not about to lead you to Super Bowl, but he's a nice placeholder piece that they got for now. But 49ers roll. That team is loaded. One of the picks that did hit this past weekend, I played a little boost on BetUS. It was CJ McCaffrey over 100 rushing yards, and I think anytime touchdown. Cash with ease. I totally forgot I even made the bet. It was plus 400 boost odds. Easy cash. He's literally the X factor weapon on that team. Debo back doing his thing. George Kittle, obviously, and Brock Purdy. I mean, I'll give him his props as the last pick of the draft. He's definitely doing the damn thing. But at the same time, this Kyle Shanahan offense is literally crazy, man. Is his dad, Mike, in Denver, it was, plug any running back in, you can make it work. Even though, Grant, they did have Terrell Davis, and he's a Hall of Famer. But every running back that came through there was running for 1,000 yards. With Kyle, it's like any quarterback you want, we're gonna plug him in. He's gonna look great. So, yeah, man. You think Brock Purdy he can really lead them to a Super Bowl victory, or you think? Because I know there's some people say they might be on upset alert versus Cowboys this weekend. Brock Purdy, they're still not a believer. They want to see him versus a good defense, and the way Dallas played this past week. You think Brock Purdy for real, or you think you got a little upset alert on the Cowboys?
I mean, kind of both. I definitely do think it could be a possible upset this week between the 49ers and the Cowboys. Because like I said before, Cowboys just match up them and the Eagles match up so well with the 49ers in the NFC. I feel like Brock Purdy, he's a good quarterback. I've been hyping him up for sure. But like I said, Kyle Shanahan's offense is literally QB proof. Now, the only difference between like Brock Purdy and Jimmy G is I feel like Kyle, he trusts Brock a little bit more than he does with Jimmy G, because obviously like Brock throwing the ball 30, 40 times 30 times a game. And also he got the run game going and stuff like that. So yeah, he trusts Brock way more than Jimmy G. But I do feel like there's like we're gonna see the real, not like the real Brock Purdy, but like he gonna have like sooner or later, because it's like it's too good to be true, right?
Yeah, like sooner or later he gotta play bad.
Yeah, like he gotta have a bad game sooner or later, right? So like, why not versus a good Dallas team, like a good defensive Dallas team? I don't know. I mean, like I said, it gotta happen sooner or later. It's either gonna happen versus Dallas, or maybe the Eagles or the Giants, if the Giants even win, because the Giants look phenomenal. We're gonna touch on that. Giants look phenomenal. That's another game you gotta look out for, because Giants look phenomenal. But yeah, so either those two games, or if they make it to the Super Bowl, I mean, eventually he has to have a bad game. You would think, right? This is crazy. Like we never.
That's what people keep saying, but like I mean, he keep balling and
keep balling. So I don't know. We'll see. I would like to see him versus a good defensive team, and this Dallas team is a good defensive team. So we'll see.
Yeah, man, they definitely completely tortured Tom Brady all Monday night. It's gonna be a nice little matchup with Trent Williams versus Michael Parsons, depending on how much they put Mike at defensive end over there, because I know they sometimes put him at linebacker and switch him out a little bit. But yeah, man, if he can protect him Purdy enough from Micah, and they can get some of them throws off, because Kyle's gonna have some plays dialed up where it's just gonna be schemed up very well, and somebody's gonna be open. Brock Purdy just has to have time to deliver the ball. And then also, I think while Dallas does play good, I think another key to the game for them, because they're 49ers are built for playoff football. Like when they gets playoff time, if they have to, and they really like to do it anyway, they can ground and pound you to death.
Yeah.
And if they start running the ball straight at Michael Parsons, and Trent Williams already there, if you start sending George Kittle on a wraparound, chip him, and just start kind of roughing him up, it's gonna make him take that like half-second pause coming off the ball, because he's like, okay, I'm thinking about the run now, and then boom, you go play action. Next thing you know, Debo or Ayuk wide open in the middle of the field with room to run after the catch. But on the flip side, yeah, man, that defense versus Cowboys, I'm also excited to see that, because I mean, we'll touch on the Bucks game and the Cowboys game last, but Dak obviously coming off a really good game. It's gonna be interesting to see him versus that defense. I mean, I gotta give him his props. Like, he bought out 5 touchdowns, 4 passing, 1 running. It really could have been 5 passing if he felt like it. He said he didn't want to take a chance to throw it to Schultz right there when he ran it in, and just walk in himself. But it's definitely gonna be a dogfight for sure. But on the other end from this game, we're talking about 49ers Seattle. Seattle, nothing to hang your hats on. Like I said, this was a season, like, for one, I owe Seattle an apology. I know the first, whatever episode it was that we did the little NFL preview, I came on here and said, this Seattle team could lose every game. I didn't think they were going to lose every single game, but I was like, they got the possibility to lose every single game. And they finished the season 9-9, I guess, after this playoff loss. But definitely nothing to be mad about. You just got rid of, your old franchise QB and Russell Wilson. And some people, were calling you stupid for that, but they obviously had some foresight and could see that this ain't the same Russ. Made the move. Denver, had the terrible season they had. So not only did they make the playoffs and get some good playoff experience for that young team, but they also, got a high draft pick out of the trade. So they definitely got a lot to look forward to in the future. Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf, those are some weapons you can continue to build with over the years. Like I said, I still think they should try to find a quarterback in this year's draft. And go with Geno again next year. But like, I still think Geno's a placeholder, even though the way he's balled out. And hey, man, now that they said McVay's coming back in that division, but it looks like, at least from his Twitter bio, Aaron Donald is officially retired, so you don't got to worry about him. I think there's rumors that Jalen Ramsey might get traded, so the Rams kind of are in a rebuild mode, so to speak, because they, gave up all their draft picks to win that Super Bowl last year. So besides the 49ers, the Cardinals, who knows what's going on with them? They don't even have a head coach right now. And Kyler might not even be playing the first 6 weeks of next year, depending on how this ACL rehab goes. So the Seahawks could very well be back in this same spot next year. Because I don't expect this 49ers team to go anywhere. So I still think they'll take the division again next year. But Seattle could easily get second place in the division again and be right back in this playoff spot. So they got the time to do it. Nothing to knock there. Saturday night game, man. Wow. Man. I gotta laugh. Because I come on this podcast, and every time we talk about the Chargers, man, I tell y'all, them and the Raiders, why I put no faith in, all the BS talk in the, preseason and offseason about, just the Raiders got Devontae Adams. They're going to be contenders better than the Chiefs. Oh, the Chargers, they picked the Chargers. I swear to God, they picked the Chargers to win the AFC West, I think, the last 4 years now in a row. And every year they find a way to, charger it up. And I give them props. This year they made it to the playoffs. They got the job done. But I literally text Cam at halftime. I was like, man, I'm mad I didn't do it. I should have did it. But I texted him, I was like, man, I low-key want to bet, Jaguars, ML, whatever it is right now have, and they're down 27-0. Because I was like, I literally said, if there's one team that could screw this up, it would be the Chargers. And sure enough, they got outscored 31-3 in the second half. And it's not like, the Jaguars defense started forcing turnovers, because Jags, they lost turnover battle 5-0. It's the first time a team has ever won a game losing the turnover battle by 5. They were just getting stops. Yeah. And Staley, I think the media got to him. Last year he was a coach that went for it all the time. And then obviously that lost him the, game that go to the playoffs versus the Raiders a couple years ago. So this year he's been way more conservative. And I think it's affected him to the point where it took like some of his aggression away, what made the Chargers actually good. Because it came down to, I think it was like a 4th and 3 in the goal in the red zone. And they go up. If they scored, they go up 3 possessions again. Instead, they try to kick a field goal. It was 30-20. So if they go for it and then are able to get a touchdown after that, they could be up 37-20 with like what? I think it was 7 minutes to go in the fourth. The game's essentially over there. No, they choose to kick a field goal. And yeah, it should have been made. Dicker had I think that was his second miss of the year. So yeah, obviously that sucks. But regardless, if you kick that field goal to make it, you're still only up 2 possessions. Yeah. And 2 touchdowns for the Jags still wins the game as long as they can make extra points. So a coward move. That was the one time the analytics literally said, yeah, you should probably go for this. They didn't do it. It comes back to bite them in the ass. And I've heard some people talk about it, and it's kind of a fly on the wall, but we need to talk about it, man. blame Staley all you want, but if Justin Herbert is as great a quarterback as people say is, there's no way you can only put up 3 points in the second half like that and give up a 27-0 lead to the Jaguars. There's no way. Especially when you're not even turning the ball over either. You just getting into the red zone and not scoring touchdowns. He missed a couple easy throws. He missed one I can recall. Keenan Allen on a slant, wide open for a touchdown, just threw it over his head. You can't do that. And I mean, it's still an argument. And if the Jags were to pull up upset against my Chiefs, it really becomes an argument for real. But Trevor Lawrence, I mean, obviously he's been kind of a prodigy since high school. Number one high school player, number one college player, first pick in the draft. Obviously last year with Urban Meyer was awful. This year started off rough, but since we beat them, I think he has been the best quarterback in the league with like 17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, best passer rating, most yards, all that. Dude had his worst half of his probably football career and then comes back those 4 touchdowns, wins the game. He has an argument to say he's the 4th best quarterback in the AFC as of right now, behind Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. And, people will say, no, it's Herbert. You can't do that in the playoffs. Like,
he's outdoing them.
Yeah, so what do you think? Where do you think? Because the Chargers did just fire their offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi, and it looks like they're going to keep Staley because Staley's only on like a $5 million deal. If they want a Sean Payton, that's probably going to run them 20, and they're not doing that. So who do you think serves the Chargers best, and where do they go from here? Because I mean, I don't think they have to pay him this offseason. There might be talks, but after next year, Herbert's rookie deal is up, and then he's gonna get paid. You have to pay him, and that's when the best time to win is on a quarterback's rookie deal because every he's cheap and you can spend on other players. So, what do you think the Chargers' best move forward is to try to capitalize while they can?
I mean, it's hard to say because like they really have everything you need to win a championship. So it's like, why are they not doing it? Is it the quarterback or is it the head coach? Is it the offensive coordinator? What is it? I mean, so it's really just it's tough to tell. But man, this game reminded me so much of the Texans and Chiefs games so much. It's just like, okay, they're coming back now. Quarterback, what you gonna do? This guy, he's going crazy right now. What you gonna do? You gotta start, it's gotta be a shootout pretty much. Like you can't just let these guys come back and you just not doing nothing completely at all. But yeah, it was just a horrible second half from the Chargers, man. And like I've been saying, man, the Jags even though I didn't pick them, I've been saying the Jags are like a frisky team. Like they make the game like just ugly on the defensive side. Like they just are such a good coach team, and I mean, y'all got it. I mean, it's gonna be tough Saturday, man.
It's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tough one for sure. I think we have the ability to blow them out, but after that game, they playing with house money. Like the freeze. They got nothing to lose after that because they should have been done. So now it's like, shoot, we might as well release everything in the clip. And I told you, I don't know how much y'all pay attention to, early in the season, but the Chiefs played the Jags in Arrowhead. Literally the opening kickoff, Jags deferred to the second half. Opening kickoff, they kicked the onside kick randomly, like a trick onside kick where the kicker just kicked it up the middle and then went and got it himself. Got the ball. We got them 3 and out right off the bat, but it was like, okay. And that at that point they were like 3-6. So obviously, they were on the brink of season being over, low key. So like, Doug Peters was like, we might as well, use all the tricks up our sleeve. And that's how they came out the game. So no telling what stuff they try to pull this Saturday. And Trevor Lawrence ain't lost a Saturday in his career ever.
So something got to give.
Something got to give. Something got to give. But Patrick Mahomes also ain't never made the conference championship in his career. So it's definitely going to be a nice little battle between two of the young prodigies in the league, man. But, yeah, we'll touch on the games for this week, but yeah, man, that's gonna be a nice matchup. That'll be a nice matchup. I got some bets for that game for sure. But yeah, at the end of the day, for this one, Chargers gonna Charger. One of my coworkers, he's a Chargers fan. As I was texting you, literally, I kid you not, probably like 30 seconds after I texted you, if there's anybody who could mess this up, it'd be the Chargers. He texted me and was like, "Watch us Charger this up and lose," and I was like, yeah, I just told my friend that, and sure enough, it's like you could. I mean, it's kind of bad to say, but I feel like a lot of Chargers fans knew in the back of their mind with a 27-0 lead, we really could lose this.
Yeah,
because they weren't playing good at all, really, on the offense side of the ball. They were just gifted great field position by the turnovers, and then in the second half, even like. This is where I fault some of Staley or Lombardi, because he's calling the plays. But they threw the ball more than they ran the ball with a 27-0 lead. Like, even if you're not getting first downs, when you run the ball, at least you're still using up some clock.
Yeah.
And they throwing it all over the place and not moving the ball whatsoever. So, yeah, that's on coaching. But then at the same time, you got to give blame to Herbert because he's supposed to be, a prodigy quarterback, and they're not moving the ball. And granted, I know he's missing his receiver, Mike Williams, and that's from Staley's bonehead decision a couple weeks ago in the season finale, playing him for no reason. But still, you got Keenan Allen, you got Austin Eckler. You can't let that. You got to put up more than 3 points in the second. If they put up anything more than 3 points, they win the game. Yeah. It's just as simple as that, and they couldn't do it. So, yeah, and like you said, you alluded to the Texas Chiefs game back in 2019. Y'all had us down 21-0, and y'all were driving, got into the red zone, and Bill O'Brien elected to kick a field goal instead of just going for it and going for the kill. Yeah. Now, we did go on a 50-point run, so it still might not matter. But, hey, if y'all get a touchdown there instead of a field goal, it might, confirm that momentum instead of swinging. And y'all kick a field goal, and then we come out, McCole Hardman returns a kick like 50 yards. But, yeah, same way with Chargers. First half, they had some opportunities to go for it. No, we're just going to settle for a field goal. Second half, that last one, to kick a field goal to go up 33-20, and Dicker missed it. That's the decision that ultimately bit him in the ass. And, yeah, took a mean L. But that was a Saturday slate of Super Wildcard. 49ers, Jaguars moving on to the divisional round. Sunday slate, that first game, man. And I told y'all, Josh Allen is a roller coaster ride quarterback.
Yeah.
When he looks great, boy, he looks like arguably the best quarterback in the league with his talent. And then as I texted Cam, my son, I was like, 5 minutes later, he will have you questioning if he's even top 5 with some of his decision making. Bills start off the game blowing the Dolphins out as people expected. Then next thing you know, Allen starts turning over the ball. And next thing you know, we're going into halftime with the actual game on our hands. And I think he opened up the first possession he got strip sacked and it got returned for a touchdown. Next thing you know, the Dolphins are actually winning this football game. And Mike McDaniel, I mean, I get it. He had a third string quarterback and you're in Buffalo. And I know that crowd was probably going crazy. But you can't have that many delayed games or problems just getting the snap off, especially on that last drive. They could have honestly went and tied up the game to send it to OT at the very least. That was complete incompetency on his side. And, I mean, he'll get an excuse because, they had no business even being in the game with, out 2 and all that. But if they don't at least win a playoff game next year, you kind of gotta, I don't know, man. Like, we've been talking about this all week. I just feel like they have all the weapons there. Tom Brady, a free agent, why wouldn't he want to sign there? If you got Tyreek and Waddle. I know you don't think he does, but I mean, because, they came out and said, yeah, we believe in Tua. Tua's our guy. If Tom Brady realistically wants to finish his career in Miami for, I don't know if he's going to play 1 more season or 2 seasons. but I think he comes back for at least next season. Why would Miami say no? Because at the end of the day, people just trying to get to Super Bowl. They just want one. It'd be great if you can get multiple, but it's obviously really hard to do. That's why nobody or teams rarely do it. You seen the Rams they sold for a Super Bowl. You think they cared? They got Super Bowl. Now it's rebuild mode. The Miami Dolphins can get Tom Brady on a loan essentially and still not have to go into that mode because they wouldn't be giving up anything. He's a free agent. You get Tyreek, you get Waddle, you still got Xavier Howard, Jalen Phillips, and they just got Chubb in the trade from Denver this year. They got a young, loaded roster. And with that play calling and them weapons, Tom Brady can be serviceable. I mean, he just led the league last year in most pass categories until, Tampa Bay went to shit this year. So I really think I'll save my second team for later, but I really think Miami, even though they're not number one by Vegas odds, I think if Tom Brady really sits back and thinks about where he wants to go and his best chance of winning, I think go to Miami. So you think I know we've been talking about LJ possibly, but it sounds like Greg Roman got fired today. And Harbaugh came out and said, Lamar Jackson's going to be a part of the process in picking the offensive coordinator. It sounds good. They still need to pay that man. Like, they tried to kind of just try to gloss over, like, we still haven't paid him, but yeah, he's going to be a part of the certain. No, pay him first and get that out the way. But why not? Why don't you think, Miami could be a good spot or Brady could be good there?
I mean, it's not a bad idea, but it's just like, why would Miami do it necessarily? Because he don't necessarily he looked awful. Like, he looked awful Monday night, bro. Like, he looked like a quarterback that needs to retire like now. Like, the arm strength obviously is not there no more. He can't throw the deep ball whatsoever. I mean, sometimes he'll throw it on a dot. He needs an offensive line to be great. Like, he's a statue, so he needs an offensive line. I mean, I don't really like it. I think a better option would be like the Jets or something like that. I feel like Tua is okay with for the Dolphins, and I know like you and others are like kind of like afraid with the whole the head injury thing and stuff like that. But I mean, Tua wasn't like bad this year. The only reason most of the time he was bad because I mean sometimes he make dumb decisions and stuff like that. But I mean, this year he was a better quarterback than Tom Brady, in my opinion. He was.
He was, but at the same time, before he got knocked out for the rest of the year. Like I said, when they had that like 3-game stretch where all the games were on the road, 49ers, I think, Chargers, Bills, and then even the Packers after that at home. Granted, that's a game he got a concussion that nobody knew about. He looked bad versus good teams. And they were already like Miami was already on a downward slope. And they, squeaked their way into the playoffs. But you couple that with the fact, you really like I know Tua was a great talent coming out. He was a great talent in Alabama, and then he got injured. And he kind of used to be a mobile quarterback. People forget Tua could run a little bit, and whatever that hip injury was, it really messed him up. So he's not as mobile anymore, and he's kind of been injury riddled ever since that point from when he got hurt at Alabama. And now it's concussions and just like with all the research on CT and everything, it's really nothing to play about. He's a liability. Like, yes, the quarterback for the future, and they want to trust him. But at the same time, in the back of everybody's head on that Miami staff, and players included, they know if it's football, so he's gonna get hit. You can't not get hit throughout the whole season. If he get hit just the wrong way one time, land on his head, and get up a little shaky, it's like we have to pull him. And if he keeps racking up head injuries, then it becomes the talk of like you might have to retire early. So if they can get Tom Brady for 1 year, because their Super Bowl window is like, I didn't think they had like a Super Bowl opportunity for real this year, but I think it was the beginning of the door opening up for their window, so to speak. Because they got Tyreek. Okay, this year, first year getting Tua, with a coach that actually likes him in a good offensive scheme. Let's open it up. And you seen some flashes of like they opened up the season like 7 or 8-3, I think, before they started losing. It's like, okay, we can be good. And that's something to build on. But I mean, if you can let Tua rest up for a year, get all that head stuff figured out, and learn behind the GOAT, Tom Brady, I don't know why you wouldn't do it. Like, yeah, Tom Brady didn't look as good, but he can still throw that deep ball. Mike Evans can't catch for whatever reason this year. As long as you give him some protection, he can launch it to Tyreek, and Tyreek can go get it. Because Tua could do that, and Tua don't got an arm for real either. And no, Tom Brady quick at getting the ball out. They can run slants with Tyreek and Waddle all day. He can get it out. And, I mean, they trying to win a Super Bowl. At the end of the day, Tom Brady says, I want to be here. And Mike McDaniels, as a coach, who do you think gives him a better chance at winning Super Bowl?
A 45-year-old Tom Brady after what he just did? There's no way. There's literally no way.
He looked horrible. I'm not knocking that.
So why would you want him?
Because at the same time, while he did look horrible, everything was horrible in Tampa Bay. They had zero running game. You see, he had to throw the ball 66 times on Monday.
But they got receiver. Their receiver weapons are just as good as the Dolphins, is it not?
No.
Godwin and Mike.
I'm saying like the whole receiving corps. Like Tampa Bay didn't have a tight end. Obviously losing Gronk hurt. Evans is not better than Tyreek, and at least this year, Godwin. I know he was returned from an ACL, so that might be part of the reason. But Godwin wasn't better than Waddle. And then they got Gesicki, and then also Wilson was a nice, even though he didn't even play necessarily in Miami. Sherfield was a nice wide receiver 3. And they have speed everywhere. And you got Raheem Mostert and a Mike McDaniels running game, which he, learned up under Shanahan. That's a way better setup than what the Bucs had this year. So I'm saying, like, while Tom Brady, obviously, he's not in his prime anymore, he could definitely do as much as Tua just did, I think, with this roster next year, if not more, and have them maybe deep in the playoffs or something if they get the right matchups. I'm just saying, if Miami wants to capitalize on a Super Bowl window right now, if you put them on if you could, put their players and coaches on a lie detector test and be like, Tom Brady wants to come to you right now in the offseason, who do you think gives you a better chance to win the Super Bowl, Tua or Tom? If they say Tua, that lie detector go beep, 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 beep. Because they lying.
I don't know, man. This guy is 46 years old, like, and he's not looking good. So I'm just trying to see what you see, because he's like I said, he's 45, 46. He does not look good. He does not look good at all. Like, I don't know who would want him. Like, he has to be in the perfect. He has to be in the perfect position. Like, it has to. That's why
they got enough weapons where it's like damn near the perfect position.
But do they have the O-line like the 49ers O-line? Do they have like the defense like the 49ers defense? Because he also need a good 49ers defense.
I think Miami did fire the defense core, but I think Miami has pieces on that defense side of the ball.
It does.
Where they could be really good. And I want to say, I think he went to Texas. Byron Jones, I think it is, the safety. Mm-hmm. He was playing good. Rookie, he got hurt, out for the year. I think they lost another person. And their secondary got really banged up early on in the year, and they lost some key players out for the season. I think that defense could be good enough, for Tom Brady. Even though, Tom Brady used to having top 10 defenses. I don't know if they could be top 10, but I think they could be good enough. I'm just saying, if they trying to maximize a Super Bowl window and you're kind of uneasy with Tua after everything that happened this year, if you have to pick someone to fill in for him for just 1 year, it's kind of hard if that guy is Tom Brady and he's saying, I want to come down here with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. It's kind of hard to be like, oh, we don't want to see what could possibly be. I mean, it's not like he's a free agent, so it's not like you have to get rid of Tua. Say Tom Brady is washed. If he washed, you go back to Tua. Easy.
No,
I'm just saying it'd be very hard to bench Tom Brady, but I'm just saying that could happen as well if he's that bad.
I guess that's true. I don't know. We'll see though.
It's a discussion, but I got something else to say about him later. But the Bills, like I was saying, Josh Allen, he now for the season he has 32 combined interceptions and fumbles. Now, not all those fumbles were lost. I think the official numbers is 22 turnovers for the season, but he leads the league. He led the league this year in most turnovers and interceptions and fumbles combined, 32. The two people behind him, Matt Ryan at 29, and who was the third? I think Justin Fields, who obviously was fighting for his life in Chicago, and Josh Allen. Now, I've never seen somebody get so much grace from the league and get propped up so much, and he hasn't, just been that guy that everybody says he is just yet. Obviously, coming into the season, prohibited NFL MVP favorite, Bills NFL Super Bowl champ favorite, and while they're alive, they're in the playoffs. You couldn't have watched that game and be confident and then moving forward with the way they're playing right now. And they've been playing this way for literally the past 2 months or so. Granted, they found a way to win some games, but versus a good team, if Josh Allen is making bonehead turnovers like that, it's going to cost you eventually. And they play a team this week in the Bengals who, one way or another, they seem to luck out. It's part luck, part defense just getting it done. They're going to get opportunities if you're going to give it to them, and they're going to capitalize on them. So, are you worried about Josh Allen, or you think, he could, pull it off this weekend and do what needs to be done? Because after this past weekend, he almost lost to Skylar Thompson. He should have had probably 5 turnovers. Miami just dropped a few. But they almost lost to Skylar Thompson in the Miami Dolphins. So, I know people love him, but I'm telling you, man, it's like, I'll try to compare it to this. It's like to say, it's not like a 1-to-1 comparison, but if I could put it in terms, it's like if people in the NBA said right now, man, Zion is the best player in the NBA. Because he can do stuff can't nobody else do. And it's like, yeah, he can, but you're really talking about potential we haven't seen yet. Could he be? Yes, he very well could be because he's got that much athletic talent. Josh is an athletic specimen. He's got a rocket arm and he can run like a running back, damn near, and he can throw really good. But at the same time, he can also be very inaccurate, and then he can turn over the ball a lot. And I hinted at it when this season first started. I was like, Brian Daboll, I don't think people realize how much he did for Josh Allen, because Josh Allen's first 2 years in the league were really awful. Then Daboll came in and they got Stephon Diggs, and he turned it around. Now Daboll, Daniel Jones looking like a bona fide quarterback this weekend.
Yeah.
Granted, that was a terrible Minnesota defense, but now he left, and Josh Allen and these turnovers have come right back to fruition, and kind of looks like the old Josh Allen we know of, and it doesn't look good. But people kept trying to say, "Oh, he's better than Mahomes. He's an MVP. He should have won last year. He outplayed Mahomes." It's like, no, man, it's levels to this, and Josh just has not reached that level yet. And to put a football comparison on it, people tried to give Mahomes this comparison, but Josh Allen is really a modern day Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can launch the ball 80 yards probably with ease. But with all of them great throws, it's going to be 4 or 5 throws a game where it's like, bro, what are you looking at, or why are you even trying that? And he's going to do it every game. And this weekend, if he does that, Cincinnati's going to capitalize on it for sure. So, yeah, man, I know you kind of disagree with my roller coaster take last week, but how you feel now?
Oh yeah, he's definitely a roller coaster for sure. But it's just like I said, he's a modern day Brett Favre for sure. Um, he's a gunslinger. I mean, he gonna throw the ball 40, 40 times a game. He gonna that's the number for him. 40 plus times a game. Josh Allen's gonna throw the ball. So I mean, everybody can't be like a Joe Burrow or like a Pat Mahomes or like Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers usually throws like 2 interceptions, 3 interceptions the whole year. So, everybody can't be like that, but if Josh Allen wants to be in that category, he got to start playing like those guys. He got to start making smarter decisions and not throwing these boneheaded passes that he's been making. Because I remember what was that? Yeah, like last week when I was watching this game and he threw one pass. I think it was like an end zone or whatever. And it got intercepted. Now I text you, I was like, bro, what is it like? What was he seeing? Like, what is he looking at? So yeah, I mean, he's a gunslinger. He's gonna throw 40 times a game, but he need I don't know, because like you said, man, his highs are very, very high, but his lows are just it's like, bro, like you're not even top five. Like so it's just I don't know, like
But the media loves him, and I've never seen it before. Like I don't know what he did to become the media darling, but after last year's heartbreak game and losing, to us when he played a perfect game, even though Mahomes put up the same exact stats and they were better, people have just been like all on his tip, all over the NFL media. It's like, no, Josh Allen, it's the best young quarterback. It's like, bro, he at least prove it first and win something? Because now this is another year where if the Bills don't win the Super Bowl this year, some people will be reluctant to say it, but it will be a failure because they were supposed to win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen isn't winning the MVP, so Patrick Mahomes is gonna win the MVP. That's two. He's up two already now, and he's got the Super Bowl. Josh Allen has to win the Super Bowl this year to even still make it an argument. If he bows out this week, that's 2 years in a row losing in the divisional round. He's only been to one AFC title game, and in that game we whooped him. He didn't look good at all, and he threw a bad interception in that one too. And so it's like, if people want to anoint him as the best quarterback, the best young quarterback, this, that, and the third, he has to back it up. And like that red zone interception you're talking about, I think this year was big. People were like, "Oh, Josh Allen doesn't turn the ball over in the red zone. He's never done it." I think that was his 7th red zone interception this year, and it was one of them ones where it's like, bro, why did you? What are you looking at? Like you seen the defender see you, and you threw it to him. Like you threw it to him like he was the wide receiver. And like you do that against the Bengals, you're going to lose because they're going to capitalize with their offense. And Joe Burrow, he's going to take care of the ball for the most part. He had that 4 interception game, the first game of the year versus Steelers. He's thrown 8 games in the 17 games since, or 8 interceptions in the 17 games since. So yeah, Josh Allen, that can't happen whatsoever. And if they lose this week, it's going to be so funny. Because Bills Mafia all over Twitter this whole year. They're under every Chiefs post. They've been talking since the jump like, man, we're better. Josh Allen's a better quarterback. Once they beat us early in the regular season, like, oh, the AFC Championship runs through Buffalo. Like, we're better than y'all. Like, we're going to prove it. If they fail to not even make it to the AFC Championship again, it's like, y'all are failures. And next year, Josh Allen's contract kicks in because he signed a fat deal this past offseason, but it was offloaded to this year. Some of them pieces are going to have to leave.
mm-hmm.
And, man, now, I mean, I think Jacksonville is still a year or two out, but Jacksonville's on the rise. They're going to get Calvin Ridley added to that offense this year. Trevor Lawrence still there. The Chargers, if they could ever figure it out, I'm not going to throw them in the conversation yet, but they're there in terms of, they got a quarterback, they got a solid team around them. The Bengals obviously are here to stay. The Chiefs, like, it's going to be a gauntlet year in, year out, and these are Josh Allen's best years to win a Super Bowl. So They got to get it done this year, but the way they're playing, I don't see it happening, man. I don't see it happening. But that was a Sunday afternoon game. Sunday night game, Giants Vikings, man. And this one of the ones I called it wrong. I thought, although the Vikings have showed they're a bad team all year, I was going off the premise I'd never seen Daniel Jones play in a playoff game, and I wasn't that impressed with him. Combined with the fact they don't have no wide receivers. And then Dable and them boys came out and balled. Daniel Jones, 300 passing yards, 70 rush yards. First quarterback ever to do that in NFL playoff history, have 300 passing, 70 rushing yards. Saquon was balling, and Minnesota defense was bad, obviously, but they tore them up. So credit to them. And they walk out of there with a convincing dub. And honestly, like you said, because it's a divisional game this weekend versus the Eagles, and it's the third time they play them. It's going to be a tough matchup just because both teams know what each other's doing. And like you said plenty of times in other episodes, whatever Dayball is telling them in that locker room, every player believes that with their whole heart. And so they're going out there playing their absolute best. And man, I think you texted to me a couple of days ago, or it might have been yesterday, but you're like, I don't know what it is. But when the Giants get into the playoffs and they do this crazy stuff, like they don't lose, they just keep on winning. And it's like they shouldn't be. They don't have the team, but they're going to do it anyways. And that might be the case this year again, randomly. And Dayball, I mean, it's a regular season award, and so it's already been voted on. I don't know if he won it, but that was another stamp on being coach of the year to come out and win a playoff game like that. When you got Daniel Jones throwing the no-name receivers that people never heard of, and 300 passing yards on the road, serving literally from the first drive, didn't let up. So, yeah, man, your boy Danny Dimes, go ahead and speak on him, because I know you was big on him. I was like, he still got to, prove me wrong and make me a believer. He may be, he can make me a believer this weekend for sure versus a tough Philly team, but he proved me wrong this past weekend for sure. So.
Now, man, I know in this bracket I got the Eagles win this game, but boy, it's gonna be a tough game. And like I said, I do believe the Eagles gonna come out slow that first quarter or first half. But boy, if they do, that's not good. Because like I keep saying, man, you just said it. They all got these boys playing like they can win every single game, no matter who they playing. Like they think they can win every game. But Dan Jones came out here, man. He balled. Saquon, like you said, he balled too. It's contract years for them too. So they definitely want to stay. They definitely want to stay. They definitely want trying to get those deals or whatever. But yeah, man. This Giants team feel like the 2007 and 2011 Giants teams, man. Like that front seven is nasty. Got Dexter Lawrence leading. Got Kayvon Thibodeau, the rookie, whatever. He's out there. So I mean, they just play grimy, man. That defense is, like I said, that front seven is amazing. The front seven is amazing. Then, I mean, when the offense is clicking on all cylinders, like they was versus the Vikings, that team hard to beat. It really is, and like shit, it just be random. Like it's just random shit that they just winning. and then look here, they keep winning, and now they in the NFC conference games. It's crazy if that would happen, but. Time will tell.
Time will tell. Like I said, I mean, I was impressed this past weekend, but again, they still need to prove it to me. Because while they looked great last weekend, like I said, it was against a terrible Minnesota defense. And I mean, even though Daniel Jones played out of his mind this last 2 months or so, the Giants haven't won back-to-back games. And I think Daniel Jones on the season is averaging like 200 yards passing and under one passing touchdown a game. So, granted, that comes with a caveat because he don't got nobody to throw to on that roster. But still, it's going to be a tough matchup for sure versus that Eagles defense, who they're basically healthy all the way on that defense side of the ball. So, I mean, if he balls out again and they're able to pull the upset, yeah, I'm a believer at that point. But, yeah, I definitely want to see it. They are, I think, like 7.5 point dogs this week. So I think it's gonna be a tough game. I don't know about the Eagles covering that, but they say Jalen Hurts is healthy, so we gonna see. We gonna see. But on the flip side, man, the Vikings, it sucks because Kirk Cousins didn't even play bad. He played really
They didn't.
good.
Yeah.
It was just the last play, which people will remember forever, and it's throwing a 3-yard check down on 4th and like what was it, 11? I think
11, yeah.
it's like, bro,
why would you do
why
that?
would you do that? The only other person I seen do that is Matt Ryan, and he should retire this offseason. I don't know if he will, but he
I
needs.
hope he do shit. That's
But
never
it's like,
retire.
yeah, but it's like, bro, that's the ceiling with the Vikings. Like, you're not going to win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins, especially not with that defense. And I don't know, they're kind of stuck because they did pay him a couple years ago, and I don't know how many people would be willing to trade for Kirk Cousins because you know what you're gonna get with Kirk Cousins. He's a serviceable QB. He's an Alex Smith. Like, yeah, he
Yeah,
can win you
literally.
games. He can get you to the playoffs. But once he gets you to the playoffs, you cannot trust him to lead you anywhere. Like, it sucks to say, but like that's literally how it is. So I really don't know where they could possibly go. But as I've told you plenty of times before, I Justin Jefferson, I know, obviously he wants to get paid, get his money, he deserves it, but he needs to get up out of there. He better not sign no long-term deal in Minnesota or he's stuck there and his career is just gonna go to waste. Kind of like, I mean, Randy Moss, obviously a Hall of Fame wide receiver, but Randy Moss' career went to waste in Minnesota until he went over to New England and, actually had a chance to shine in playoffs. And, they had that amazing season 07-2. The Giants stopped him. But Justin Jefferson, man, you can get him with one of these top young quarterbacks and lead. No, the sky is the limit for them. I know it's very hard and it's probably not a way, but if somehow, some way, my Chiefs could get Justin Jefferson while we still have Travis Kelce. Oh my God, bro!
That'd be nasty.
And an Andy Reid offense with Kadarius Toney too. Boy, no telling the shit we could draw up. But yeah, man, I'm praying and hoping, like, dog, be smart. Don't sign no long term, and it's gonna suck because they'll probably franchise tag him if he refuses a deal. But it's kind of like, yeah, nah, dog, you need to go force a trade. People was say he's being a diva, but it's like you cannot win here, and Kirk Cousins is not maximizing your potential. Granted, you was about to break a NFL receiving record, but still, you could be with a top quarterback and actually go deep in the playoffs, like his boy Jamar. He got drafted by the Bengals, and he been balling out ever since with Joe Burrow. Like, imagine if they were able to get him and they were able to pair them back together.
Well,
unfair. They better boycott that trade.
Yeah, the guys to. Oh, that's two best receivers on the same team. Man, hell no. Man, even Travis and that would be crazy. Like you just said.
Oh yeah,
that would be crazy because Travis is basically a receiver.
That's why I'm praying and hoping. I don't know how Beach can work some magic, and I don't know what we would essentially have to give up. Man, if we can make it happen, do it. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know where the Vikings go from here. Luckily for them, I mean, Chicago is probably still a couple years out because they got a lot to rebuild. The Lions, while yes, they had a great year, still didn't make the playoffs, and like the future could be bright. They're still the Lions. So until they do it and we can actually see it, can't necessarily put faith in them, even though I think they'll be a playoff team next year. And then the Packers, nobody know. I think if Aaron Rodgers returns to football, it's not with the Packers at the very least. So they could possibly be in a rebuild kind of situation. So the window is still open for them to win, the division for maybe another year or two. But when they win it, are they going to do anything with it still? I don't think so. Not if Kirk Cousins is the quarterback. So they got a lot to figure out over there. But yeah, man, I just want to see my dude Justin Jefferson be great somewhere else. Because Minnesota, it's not it. It's not it, man. And then the end of Sunday night slate of games, man. Cincy versus Baltimore. I knew this one was gonna
You
be a
called
tough
it.
game.
You
I
called it.
this one this one of the ones I hit on everything in this game. I said Ravens would be plus 10, and then I made a 2-team teaser. I think it was Ravens plus like 16 in the under of 46, I want to say. And luckily enough, if Baltimore would have been able to get a touchdown and force overtime, they would have hit 47 in the over, and I would have been screwed.
It was
But
close too.
but yeah, I called the game to a T. Luckily, Prochet didn't catch that tip Hail Mary pass.
That'd have been crazy.
But yeah, man, it's another one where it's like Bengals shouldn't have won, and Joe Burrow didn't play his best game, but it's looking like he got the Tom Brady luck on his side. Every time the Bengals find a way, that usually has nothing to do with him. Tyler Huntley, if he just, because they literally, I don't know why he did what he did, because the play, now people, and it kind of should be illegal, I think, low key, because it's kind of unfair. But nowadays when people run QB sneaks, they put people behind them and just push them forward.
Push him in, yeah.
They had Mark Andrews and Ricard, the fullback, I think, and maybe the running back too. They're all pushing Huntley forward. If he just ducks down, they're going to push him into the end zone. Huntley tries to be a superhero, dives over the pylon,
Stupid.
knocks it, or dives over the goal line, gets the ball knocked out way short, and Hubbard takes it 98 yards back to the house. Touchdown, Bengals. It was a 14-point swing. The Ravens were going to go up 7 with like 8 minutes to go in the game. Instead, now they're down 7 and are playing from behind. And it's like, man, Bengals should have lost this game. Ravens should still be playing. But at the same time, it's like, that's why you pay Lamar, man. Because obviously, it's good. They have one of the top defenses in the year. But as good as their defense is, they cannot win without Lamar. And they need some more weapons around them. And now they have the opportunity to go get a better offensive coordinator than Greg Roman. Greg Roman, the best running game coordinator, but they couldn't throw worth the lick, and that's why receivers didn't want to come there. They could pay Lamar and nail this offensive coordinator pickup, man. They could really take it to new heights. And I think Lamar could, reemerge as, like, as long as he stays healthy, he can reemerge as one of the top young QBs, as he once was thought of for. Because still to this day, even though they want to prop all these other young QBs over Lamar, none of them are they still don't have any MVPs like Lamar, because they're not getting it this year. And I mean, out of Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, two of them aren't making the Super Bowl this year. If not all three, because if Jacksonville were to beat us and then go on to beat whoever wins that game, none of them would make it. But I mean, I said to say, like, some of these young quarterbacks at the end of this year, they're still not going to have a resume as good as Lamar's. Lamar just needs the pieces around him and the support from the Ravens, which is crazy why they don't give it to him. Because, like, it's clear as day now. Like, y'all what they scored this weekend is what they average without Lamar. 17 points a game. They cannot score without him. And he makes the team go. You heard in the press conference after Dobbins is like, yeah, man, if we have Lamar, we win this game.
Yeah.
So, and now, like, today, January 19th, Thursday, earlier this morning, they fired Greg Roman, and Harbaugh said in the press conference, Lamar will be a part of the process. I don't know what exactly that means. I don't know if they're going to get his deal done sooner rather than later. But, I mean, it sounds good, but at the same time, I still kind of want to see Lamar go somewhere else and, have a team actually that wants him and treats him right the first time. Because the Ravens definitely dropped the ball this year, man. You think it's a chance for, them and Lamar to reconcile with this new offensive coordinator stuff? Or you think, you still want him to get up out of there too?
I think most definitely he'll be involved in, well, I would hope, you would think that he'll be involved in the, in the offense coordinator hiring. I know some GMs don't really want their quarterbacks to, to be involved, but some GMs actually want their quarterbacks to be involved. And I like GMs, me personally, I like GMs that like, to have the quarterbacks pick what head coach they should go after, or talk about what offense coordinator that they should have, or stuff like that. But I don't think Lamar's going to go nowhere. I think they do, even though I keep saying this, that owner, he does not believe in paying quarterbacks whatsoever. Like, he refused to pay quarterbacks whatsoever. I think he'll finally come to his senses and be like, man, we got one of the top 5, top 7, whatever you want to call them, quarterbacks in all of football right now. And he's still, pretty young dude. And I think everyone pretty much forgot before the Ravens hit had the injury bug or whatever. Lamar was actually like leading the league in like
A lot of stats.
and a lot of stats, and he was on pace to win the MVP. Now, they wasn't really finishing games very good. At the end of the game, they'll like just fold or whatever. But yeah, I mean, other than that, he was, in my opinion, I think he was leading the league in MVP votes or whatever, or at the time. That was like earlier in the year though. But yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think that owner is gonna, like I said, come to his senses and sign him, get him close to whatever deal he wants, because really Deshaun Watson really kind of messed up the whole quarterback market. Really, not even the quarterback market. He messed up the market, period. Everybody wants a guaranteed deal. If their deal is not guaranteed no more, they're not doing it. It's as simple as that. As simple as that now. Like, Deshaun messed up the whole market. Everybody wants a guaranteed deal. And I mean that's what Lamar wants. So hopefully he gets it. Hopefully he gets it with the Ravens. I mean, they're a phenomenal team. Got one of the best defenses in the league. Like you said, hopefully they get a competent offense coordinator that knows what he's doing with the passing game. They bring in weapons for him, not just tight ends, like actual receiving stuff like that. Still no clue why they gave up Hollywood Brown. Well, he wanted to leave. He's been asked
Because Greg Roman.
Yeah, because Greg Roman. He was been asking to leave, whatever. But I mean, I know they was missing him. So that's all I'm gonna say. I know they was missing him. Hopefully Rashad Bateman gets things going. I know he's been, hurt or whatever. But hopefully, next year he'll have a healthy season. Cause I still think his potential is like, he reminds me of like Steve Smith so much, but a little bit more fast than Steve Smith. But I feel like he's a more of like a tough physical receiver in my opinion. So hopefully he comes back and do good next year with Lamar, and hopefully they draft another receiver this year. In a draft, because the receiver class this year is pretty good.
It's nice, and there's also, I mean, I don't know how, because like I said, they're gonna have, if they want to keep him, they're gonna have to pay him. I don't know what that price tag is right now, but it's their fault for waiting this long. Because same thing Jerry did with Dak. He waited too long, and then he ended up having to pay Dak something he didn't necessarily want to pay him. But that's how it is, because it's next man up. It's a next man up league. So whoever's up next gonna reset the market every time now, especially at the quarterback position. But they're gonna have to pay him. But at the same time, there's been rumors, DeAndre Hopkins they're possibly, the Cardinals are looking to trade him. And so that would be a start right there. But it's like, you're gonna have to take on DeAndre's contract, maybe renegotiate a little bit, and then also pay Lamar. And so I know they might not necessarily want to do that. But like you said, there's a lot of wide receiver talent in the draft as is. So they got to get somebody. Like, just get him somebody serviceable and, a competent offensive coordinator, and then go from there.
Hopkins would be a nice pickup, because like his game kind of fits. His game fits like, what the Ravens really want to do. I mean, he's a possession catcher. I mean, he's going to run his routes to perfection. He's not the fastest guy, but he's going to run his routes to perfection. And he's always open. He's literally always open. It's crazy. He's always open. So,
and that would be Lamar's first like bona fide wide receiver number one. Like, they drafted Marquise Brown, but he never panned out. And that's probably partially, too, because of the offensive scheme there. But DeAndre Hopkins is a proven wide receiver one in this league. You pair him with some talent like Lamar Jackson, man. There's no telling with Lamar. Like, Lamar honestly should be able to throw for probably like 38, 3,800 to 4,000 yards a year, and also run for probably like 600 to 800 yards a year, if not 1,000 on some of his better seasons. But he's capable of doing that. Ravens just haven't supported him enough to do it. I hope they do it. And then on the flip side, like I said, Bengals move on, and their team has been there, and Joe Mixon's been talking his stuff. This week they're 5.5-point underdogs. And, Joe Burrow came out and said, I don't ever view myself as an underdog. And I think they got the team that could go into Buffalo and definitely hand the Bills an L, especially if they take care of the ball like they've been doing. And, I mean, if my Chiefs win and we meet them, it's not like they're going to be scared of us, so to speak, because they beat us 3 times. So this team could very easily wind up right back in the Super Bowl. Now, if they lose the Super Bowl again, then we have to have a conversation about, is Joe Burrow, clutch or whatever you want to say. But at the same time, like, I got on Josh Allen early in the episode, and I think it's 7 playoff games. Josh Allen has 18 touchdowns. And then 5 playoff games for Joe Burrow, he only has 7 passing touchdowns. He's really not, like, Joe Burrow he game manages enough. And he'll make a play here or there that, like getting out of the pocket randomly and either run for first down or finding someone down the field. But he's not doing anything spectacular, so to speak, stat-wise. But the Bengals are winning games. And as long as they keep winning, he's going to get all the credit in the world. So
it sounds very familiar, huh?
Sounds very familiar.
Sounds very familiar.
And they're trying, the league, they trying to make him the new face, as Brady is on his way out, clearly. So
sounds very, very familiar.
And I'm telling you right now, man, this weekend they got remember the rep I was talking about, that the Chiefs fans, Carl Shepard, he reffed that Texas game, he reffed our Bengals game last year. He's gonna be he's got the Buffalo game this week. It's gonna be some calls where it's like a 3rd down. Joe gonna throw up that fade ball to Jamar T. Higgins on the sideline, and it's not gonna be a DPI. But as soon as the ball hit the ground, you go see flag. It's gonna be like, man, this game probably rigged a little bit, but nobody will blink an eye. Like, no, it's Joe Cool, it's Joe Shiesty. He's just that great. Both these teams could lose. I would love it, but yeah, man, it's gonna be an interesting divisional weekend for sure. But to wrap up Wildcard Weekend, man, that Monday night game, this is the one where I got it all wrong. I knew, like, I'm not gonna sit up here in front. Like, obviously, Tampa Bay was a horrible team this year. We've said that multiple times on a lot of episodes. They didn't deserve to be in the playoffs, but I said, the NFC South will find a way to let Tom Brady in with a losing record. That's exactly what they did. And because they made it here, and up until this point, Dallas hadn't shown us anything playoff-wise, so they could be a great team. I just thought Dallas would miraculously shit down their leg and Tom Brady would luck into another playoff win. And honestly, I think it's a different game. I think Dallas could still win, but I think it's a different game if he doesn't throw that interception in the red zone that they jinxed him into with the stat.
Yeah.
But other than that, complete annihilation. Like I said, Brady looked 50 years old out there. He was seeing ghosts because of Micah Parsons and flinching every time he wanted to throw the ball. I had the Bucks +9, I think, and over 39.5. The over hit, but the +9 didn't. Then I had them to win the game straight up. Obviously, that didn't happen. And I had Mike Evans anytime touchdown, and he dropped one. A deep ball that Brady hit. And Mike Evans dropped it as he's done a lot this year, man. So, yeah, Tampa Bay, it looked awful. And today, it kind of sucks because last year, after the Super Bowl run, I think it was, Byron Leftwich, their offense coordinator, he wasn't getting looks, but Jacksonville, his former team, they brought him in to do a head coaching interview or wanted to, and he turned it down. And now, because they played so bad, and it's kind of like, oh, well, it couldn't possibly be Tom Brady. He got fired this morning. It's like, man, the offense was terrible. And a lot of that was Tom Brady had his worst season yet in his career since his rookie year. He was awful. And the whole culmination of the Bucs season this year showed up in that playoff game Monday, and the Cowboys whooped their ass. Dak Prescott played the best game I've ever seen him play. And you called it. He was like, man, Brady is not going to win. You tried to tell me I didn't want to bet against Brady. But if there's one thing I can't count on Brady to do, whatever I bet, whether it's with them or against them, he'll do the opposite just to spite me. So I hope he's done and retired. But I just know he ain't just give up his family to not return to football.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
he gonna be
crazy.
somewhere next year. And well, he need to go ahead and retire and take that Fox Sports money and start his analyst career or whatever, man. Because he looked like an old man out there. But go ahead and do your victory lap with the Cowboys, man. And
You know, man, I got one thing to say. Hold on. Got one thing to say. I'm the Cowboys, man. I'm about the Cowboys. Now, y'all know me, man. I'm not a big Cowboys fan. I'm not a big Cowboys fan, but like I said, man, Dak came out there, man. He did what he did, threw 4 touchdowns, ran one in also. So, you know, he proved me wrong from early in the year. I was a big Cooper Rush guy. And now I'm on the Dak side of things. So he looked good. He looked very good. This it really should have been 35-14. Kicker was missing. That was just nuts. I'd never seen it. Now it looked like he wanted the under to hit for sure.
bro, that's the crazy thing. So the over under for this game was set at 45.5. The final score was 31-14. For those of y'all that can't do quick math, that's 45. Brett Maher missed 5 extra points. Or was it 4 or 5?
It was 4.
It was 4. But I think that's what it was. I think that's the second game in history where there's been at least 5 touchdowns scored and no extra points made. The only other game that was like that was the Eagles versus the Lions in 2012 or 2013, but there was a foot of snow on the field, so they weren't kicking field goals. That's why there was no extra points, because everybody was going for 2. Brett Maher just missed 4 extra points in a row. And what should have been 28, so I think it was 6 for the Bucks, because they ended up going for 2 and not getting it. It was instead 24-6 because he missed those extra points. And then sure enough, the Cowboys score again, and he finally hits one. Bucks scored 31-14. Over does not hit because he couldn't hit 1 out of those 4 extra points. And it's like, man, come on. How in the world does this happen? And that's the line, and that's what causes it. Man, one of the worst. That's probably the worst bad beat of the season, just on the fact of why it didn't hit. Crazy.
Gotta be one of the worst, bro. Like, it was just, and like you could tell Dak was obviously, he was frustrated. He was like, why not just go for the fucking 2?
And they actually added it to the NFL mic'd up. Like, they bleeped it out,
They
but
did?
like they shared the audio of him saying like, bro, just go for effing 2. Like, yeah, they did it. Like,
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. If I'm Brad, I'm feeling some type of way, but nah, most definitely, like, bro, like, you missed 4 in a row. 3 of them was like the same way. Like, it was literally wide left, and then the other one.
At that point, move the ball off the left hash, because they kept kicking him there, and he's
That's what I'm
literally pushing
saying.
it right every time. And then he overcompensates the last one to hook the left. It's like, okay, can you not just put it down the middle, or maybe try the right hash? Try something different.
Try something different. So, yeah, because my dad was like, why he got it on the left hash like that? Like why he keep doing it? I was like, that's where he's choosing to put it at. They can put it at whatever they want, and that's where he's literally choosing to put it at. Me personally, I don't know why would you not do it in the middle, but it's whatever. But yeah, man, Cowboys rolled through Tampa Bay. I kept saying the whole year, man, this Tampa Bay team was just it was a mediocre team in a very lousy division, and they just got away. They just got away with it. Went to the playoffs. Hosted a home game in the playoffs, but you could just tell, like, they just wasn't a good team. The defense was banged up. I know Ryan Jensen was coming back, but I mean, that was his first game all year.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, he looked okay too, but I don't know if you seen that. He kind of threw it kind of low, and then Tom Brady kind of had like one snag. That was dope. I ain't gonna lie, that was dope. But yeah, nobody gonna ever win a game throwing 60 times, bro. It's very hard to win a game even when you throwing 50 times. Like you gotta have some type of run game going. And
Crazy. I think they were in the ball like what, 7 times?
yes, bro, like it was crazy. And playoff Lenny,
5 carries for 11 yards.
he was talking all that Mr. Micah Parsons, and I mean Micah Parsons got his get back. So I'm just glad this guy isn't Tom Brady. I'm just glad he's out the playoffs, man. Didn't want to see that again. Nobody wanted to see that again. I know you wanted to see it. I know you wanted.
I didn't want to see it in my heart of hearts. I just thought the
Okay,
NFL
yeah,
script would have like had that for him, just because it would have been a nice story. Like, man, the Bucs were terrible all year, but Tom Brady, we just
yeah.
willed him through the playoffs. I'm like, it'd be complete bullshit. So
Mhm.
I'm glad they got whooped too, but I had to see it to believe it, especially versus the Cowboys, who historically the
yeah.
last 20 years have been known for not performing in the playoffs. But yeah, man, they did their thing. I gotta give them their props. And we'll talk about all the games, but I want to just go to this one since this who we're talking about. So yes, Cowboys, round of applause. Y'all beat the shit out of the Bucs. Congrats. But at the same time, like we just said, Tampa Bay is a terrible team. They've been a terrible team all year. The Cowboys, what do we say? They usually beat up on the terrible teams. That's never been their problem. The problem is when Dak plays a good team, the Dak we just seen on Monday is nowhere to be found.
Yeah, disappears.
And while he deserves all the credit and respect in the world for what he did Monday, come this Sunday versus the 49ers in that number 1 defense, if he doesn't perform, it's like, kind of the Dak we know. Like, this is right. This is straight to a T. Dak can perform against bad teams, but when he play a good team, he doesn't show up. And it's kind of like if they lose, it's kind of like the perfect Cowboys way to lose, because obviously going up against Tom Brady, they're all the Cowboys fans are hella nervous going into the game, because like it's Tom Brady, and then your kicker misses extra points. You keep thinking like, dang, that's gonna be the one that's gonna screw it. That's gonna be the one that screws. Like Chris didn't want to believe it until like 2 minutes was left in the game that they actually won. Like, bro, no, like it can still happen. Like, it's Tom Brady. They win the game. And now, like, yeah, we whooped Tom Brady. We going to the Super Bowl. This team is the best team. Like, this is what we've been talking about. This is what this team could be. Dak balled out. And now you got to go. It sucks because New York won, so New York draws Philly now. Now you got to go to San Francisco. Because if they would have been playing Philly this week, I think Dallas would have won. But now they got to go to San Francisco, who, yes, Brock Purdy, you would think has to have a bad game at some point. And Michael Parsons could definitely be a game wrecker. But at the same time, it's like, Kyle Shanahan, I mean, he done whooped up on teams with Jimmy G. Like I said, he trusts Brock Purdy more. This seemed like the perfect letdown spot for Cowboys. Like, as soon as they get their hopes up, come crashing right back down. And against that 49er defense, I mean, if Dak can do what he did last week, he could prove every doubt I've ever had about him wrong. But I don't think it performs. And I think the 49ers will win this game. I got them I got in my plays for this week, I got it as part of a teaser for them to win the game. And I think the over as well. But I think the line was 3.5. Now that I just checked again, it's moved to 4. So people obviously putting in money on that line for the 49ers. I think maybe, it could be a close game, and Dallas could cover that spread definitely, but I can't see them winning this game, not the way the 49ers are playing right now. Like, they just got too many weapons, and while Dak played his best game yet, I think Dak is good for a turnover or two versus the 49er defense, especially with Nick Bosa getting back there, because he's going to get back there one time or another this game. So how you think this one shapes out?
I think we want to touch up on all the games, but I think all of these games, except for the Jags and Chiefs one, even though that one that's gonna be a very tough game also. But I think all of these games this week are like all toss-up games. Like it could go literally either way. But I mean, with this game, it's like I've been saying for like forever. They gotta pass the ball like around like 30 to 35 times a game with Dak Prescott. If he throws any more other than that, they will like they'll lose. Like he has to be like a 30 to 35 type of guy. And I know I said in the past that that would never happen because obviously like he's getting paid all this money, so he got to throw as much as other guys and stuff like that. But like me, you've been also been saying if they want to like actually win the game, they need to be throwing 30 to 35 times a game. So I think if they stay with that recipe, if they do it like that, keep running with TP because I mean, it's gonna be tough for that 49ers defense. I'm sorry. I'm a big TP fan now, man. It's gonna be tough for them to stop TP because TP is TP a dog. So I mean, it's gonna be tough to stop him. And if Dak not turning the ball over, which I mean he very much could because his 49ers defense is very stout or whatever. So he's not turning the ball over. I think this should be a very tossed up game. Like I said beforehand, I mean Brock Purdy got to have he has to have a bad game sooner or later. Like you would think sooner or later he has to have a bad game. I mean versus this defense, if they can get any type of pressure towards him, or if they can try stopping this immaculate run, or I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know how they're gonna stop this offense, but if they can get at least some type of pressure towards Brock Purdy, I like the Cowboys' chances, but I'm not gonna choose a winner out of this game. Like I said, I think all these games are toss-ups except for that Jackson Chiefs game. I think all these games are toss-ups. So I mean, it can go either way. I like 49 chances. I like Cowboys chances. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm ready to watch some football, man. Eat food.
So yeah, I got him in one of my teasers. I got over 39 for the game. Last year in their wild card matchup, it was 23-17. I think it's going to be even a higher scoring game this game, even though there is great defense on both sides of the ball. But I think Shanahan, and then if Dallas gets down, they're gonna start throwing the ball all over the field and they can be explosive.
Yeah.
But I think this has a chance to be like a 34-31 or 31-27 type game to it. And that could be either way. I think really what's going to end up being the deciding factor is I think one team is going to have 2 turnovers or more.
Yeah.
Whichever team that is going to lose the game. It could easily, Michael Parsons could easily force 2 turnovers on Purdy. Just getting pressure on whether it's sack, fumble, or forcing him into a terrible throw. So who knows? But same time, Nick Bosa on the other side of the ball, and that whole defense loaded. You got, because I know TP, he a dog, but they also got Fred Warner and Greenlaw patrolling the middle, and they some dogs, and they gonna be ready to tackle. And then I think it's Tufunga, the safety. Like at all 3 levels, that 49 defense is like top notch.
Top notch.
And
Yeah.
D'Amico Ryans, he gonna have them boys ready.
He
go.
gonna call up some crazy plays.
Crazy so plays. I mean, because this really an audition for him to be. He's gonna be a head coach somewhere, and Dan Quinn turned down head coaching jobs this year, and they've requested to interview him this year some teams. So it's kind of like an audition for both of them. I don't know if Dan Quinn wants to take a job still, and if he wants to stick with Dallas again. But I know D'Amico Ryan, he gonna have them boys ready to play. He probably out of there after this year, if teams are smart and want to hire him. I think your Texans should, but I doubt they will because McNair is a dummy. But yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. I think it has the potential to be a tough game. My gut is telling me the 49ers will find a way to win because they just got so much talent everywhere. But I wouldn't count Dallas out. Like, I'm not saying Dallas has no chance. If Dak can go out there, I'll give him leeway. If Dak can just turn over the ball no more than one time, like I'll give him One, because I feel like Nick Bosa going to cause something to go wrong. But if he can stay with one turnover or less, I think they will have a great chance to win that game. And it'll be the first time, we've seen them in our lifetime being a conference championship. So no telling how Cowboys fans will act. But if they lose, oh man, the tears on Twitter will be amazing.
Amazing.
And they're gonna be like, y'all care more about us losing than your team winning and all this other stuff. So it's definitely gonna be funny, man. But that's actually I think that's the last game of the week. That's the Sunday evening game. It's not Sunday night, 5:30 on Fox, Sunday evening. But we can go into my Chiefs Jaguars game where we're 8.5-point favorites. Kind of steep. I can see us hitting it, but at the same time I can see it being tougher than that. Usually in our first playoff games, we're coming off for a week of rest. So, Andy Reid, one of the best coaches out of a bye week, and we have stuff drawn up. So we usually come out smacking teams ever since we've had Mahomes. But one of my certified locks, and this is just purely off analysis from being a Chiefs fan and watching throughout the years. And I texted Cam about this last night when I sat up and I realized it. I was watching New Heights podcast, which for those of you who don't know, that's a podcast with Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey. And I was sitting there thinking they were talking about playoffs. I was like, man, I'm thinking because I'm thinking of bets to place for the week, and I'm like, what's the prop for Kelsey touchdown? It's -150. I'm like, because Travis Kelsey hasn't scored a touchdown since Thanksgiving. I think that was that Chargers game where he had 3 of them. And I'm like, let me think of the playoffs when I sit back and think. Since Mahomes got there in 2018, divisional round, his first ever playoff game, we played the Colts. Travis Kelsey didn't have one. I don't even think Mahomes threw a touchdown past that game, if I'm mistaken, because I think we ran in like 3 of them. But he might have thrown one. But Travis Kelsey didn't have one that game. Cool. But then we played the Patriots in the AFC Championship. He got one. So, okay, that's 2 games. 1 game he scored, 1 game he didn't. Like, okay, let's go to 2019 versus your Texans. He had 3 of them. Okay, well, that's 2 games he done scored in. AFC Championship versus Titans, he didn't score. 2-2. And then Super Bowl, he scored. Okay, next year. Cleveland, our first game in the division. He scored. Buffalo, he scored. We obviously didn't score in the Super Bowl that year, so it's 5-3. Okay, last year versus the Steelers, he scored. Versus the Bills, he scored. Versus Cincinnati, he scored. So in 11 playoff games with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey has scored in 8 of them. I'm not going to tweet this pick out. This is a podcast special for whoever listens. But I got some max money on Travis Kelsey scoring a touchdown. I'm sprinkling on him possibly being the first touchdown scorer. I sprinkled on that a couple times in the season, not hit, but I feel like it's got to hit eventually. And I think this is a perfect weekend. Playoff football, I know he's dialed in. But that's a play right there that I think is a certified lock. And also, Mahomes over 2.5 touching or 2.5 passing touchdowns for -115 odds, man. I don't know if it will end in a blowout, but I think we come out ready to play and we bust these boys in, the chops a little bit. And I think Mahomes might have 3 touchdown passes by the end of the first half. I think Andy Reid, this is his time. He's obviously had some stuff drawn up, and he probably drew some new stuff up this week too that no defensive coordinator has ever seen yet this whole season because he just hasn't called it. And this year, I mean, this weekend, I think he's gonna unleash that. And so those are my 2 picks. I'm not picking us. I think we can blow them out, but I'm not picking us against spread because that's just steep. But I did throw us in a teaser, and I believe teaser -2, us -2, and then over 44.5. And then I took the Bills-Bengals game over 43. So it was a 7.5-point teaser. I think it's I think this is like -1 or not negative +140 odds, I want to say. Yeah, +140. So great odds on it. And I think both the AFC games are going to be, I think a lot of the games are going to be kind of high scoring. This weekend they were all high scoring, so it could definitely take a turn and be under, but I think that offenses are too talented on these teams, and I think it's gonna be hella points scored. And from what you're saying, you think we're probably on the verge of blowing them boys out too. So
Yeah, this game either gonna be a Chiefs blowout or it's gonna be a very, very close game, and then there's nothing in between. Um, man, if anybody watching or whatever, um, and you bet, just sprinkle on Travis Kelce multiple touchdown game because I feel like
oh
he
yeah,
got
I meant to. You told me that's plus 225 odds.
man, sprinkle on that man. I think he might fool around and grab like two this game. So I'm expecting a big game out of Travis Kelce. There's really nobody on the Jags that's gonna stop that can hold him. So he go cut loose this game. I feel like he'll be ready. Pat obviously gonna be ready. I've been saying it the whole year. This is the best version that we're gonna ever see of Patrick Mahomes because you don't know where the ball's going. You can't stop Travis Kelce. If you covering Travis Kelce, oh, there goes Kadarius Toney, or there goes Sky Moore, or there goes whoever, and it's tough that we won't see McCall out there probably this playoffs. Hopefully he comes back, but probably not. But yeah, like you said, I think Andy will have them boys ready. Like I said, it's either gonna be a Chiefs blowout, like a blowout, or it's gonna be a close game. And the only reason I would say it could be a close game is because, like I said before, I think y'all and the Eagles will come out kind of slow, kind of sluggish, and not saying like the Jags or the Giants would like come out like on fire and stuff like that. I just think y'all would come out kind of slow, but either that's gonna happen or like I said, it's gonna be just a Chiefs mop down blowout. So I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready to see.
Yeah,
But
man.
that my bad. That -8.5 is very steep though. I wouldn't mess
I'm
with
staying
that.
away from that. Yeah, it's too steep. Like it can definitely easily happen, but I'd
Yeah.
rather just see it happen than bet on it. And that's why I did the teaser. But also, I mean, it's really no such thing as bulletin board material because I mean, obviously these players want to win. They already fired up as is. But Trevor Lawrence coming out earlier, and he didn't even necessarily say something bad. They kind of took a bad snippet out of it. But Trevor Lawrence coming out and saying essentially, I think our stadium, our fans were just as loud as what we'll hear in Arrowhead this past weekend. They about don't let them be in a third and long to start the game. I mean, they gonna be loud to start the game, but we have the record for loudest crowd. I think it's 142.2 decibels, like Guinness World Record. It's literally fans on Twitter like getting together, like, "Oh, you going to the game? Like, we gotta break this record this weekend." So it's gonna be super loud in there. All it's gonna take is one good play for that crowd to go crazy. And the last time we had a playoff game there, obviously last year's AFC Championship game, we choked. You don't think Mahomes has been itching to get back? Like as much as you want to play good in the regular season, obviously he's gonna be MVP, but he don't care about that today. He been itching to get right back in the playoffs because this is where he could prove everybody wrong, and that was all talking shit. Because yeah, he's already proved them wrong for the regular season, or he would fall off and not be good without Tyreek. But if he doesn't perform in the playoffs, the media will still go back and say, "Oh well, this can't be a dynasty. Patrick Mahomes, he can't. That one Super Bowl was lucky, but."
I don't know how that was lucky, but okay.
He gonna be ready, man. Like I said, over 2.5 passing touchdowns. I think he cashes it in the first half. I think we go into the first half with at least 24, 28 points. And honestly, those two touchdowns, the first two touchdowns, might be to Travis Kelce. Something crazy. So y'all listening, go ahead and spring that. I'll tweet out the Mahomes pick, but the Kelce, man, that's the podcast special. We've been, like I said, I literally sitting in bed last night around like 9 or 10 o'clock. That popped in my head. I immediately text Cam, and he was like, "Oh, I feel like he might go for multiple." So we just gave y'all all those little leans right there, man. But Travis Kelce, I'm even throwing a bet on Prize Picks. Because I guess you can't make a bet on there where it's like two players from the same team and that's it. So I gotta find a third pick. But I got Travis Kelce over 0.5 touchdowns, Mahomes over 2.5. I'll just try to find a third line. I'm even, betting it on prospect. I'm going all in. And then I got I'll probably tweet this one out too. I got a special little sprinkle on a same game parlay. It's Mahomes over 2.5, Kelsey over a touchdown, and then Mahomes over, I want to say 15 rushing yards. Because he usually, he runs when he has to, but usually the playoffs is when he, really uses late because he going all out. Whatever he got to do to win the game, he going to do it. And I'm sure it's going to come a time where Jacksonville got some great coverage out there on the back end, but they don't have anybody to cover for him. And he going to scramble for, a nice little 15, 20-yard gain. And he'll probably do that 2 or 3 times this game. So those are the bets for that one. Giants, Eagles, I'm staying away from this one completely. I really don't know what's going to happen in that game. Because, yes, the Eagles have been dominant all year, but they went into a funk this last month with the injuries and stuff. And while they say Jalen's back and healthy, we don't know for real because he didn't look too good, this last game of the season when they played the Giants. And then also, he might try to give it a go, but I'm pretty sure Lane Johnson tore something. I think he messed up his abdomen. Mm-hmm. And when the Eagles don't have Lane Johnson, I believe they're 13 or 14 and 22. They don't win a lot of games when they're missing Lane Johnson. If they don't have Lane Johnson and Kayvon Thibodeau's on the backup, and Kelsey gonna be tied up with Dexter at nose, they can really make some stuff rough for Jalen. And even though they can say he's healthy, you don't want to see him get hit too much and be on that turf with that shoulder. And if he is, still kind of lingering with injury, he might not be running that much. But that's what opens up their offense. So I really don't know. And the Giants, another team playing with house money. Dable got them boys believing they could do anything. They're 7.5 dogs. So if I had a lean, I would say New York plus 7.5 because it's going to be a tough divisional game. I don't know. I really don't. Maybe the Eagles do come out. Maybe Jalen is healthy and they start balling and throwing the ball deep to A.J. Brown. This game could literally go either way. I could see the Giants pulling the upset. I could see the Eagles getting the win. I don't know. That's why I'm staying away from this one completely. What you thinking on this game?
I think it's the same with the Chiefs and Jags. Me personally, it's either going to be an Eagles blowout or it's going to be a very, very close game. But I'm leaning more towards the very, very close game. Close game aside, because like you said, this is a divisional game. They're both in the same division or whatever. Keep on saying it. You just said it, but they've all got these boys think they could beat anybody, anywhere, on any field. It does not matter what state they in, what country they in. I mean, he got these boys thinking they can do whatever. And if Daniel Jones played the same way he played last game versus that Vikings team, woo! That's all I say. That's all I can say.
Be scary. Don't be scary. I'm gonna just pray for my boy Kill.
I'm praying for him too, because
man,
tough. That's tough.
It's not, these playoff games don't be easy on the heart. Watching your team struggle. But I think the Eagles really gonna struggle with this one. But I can see them grinding out a win. But yeah, it's too close to call it. But yeah. Bengals Bills, the first game on Sunday, 2:00, man. Now this one, I got picks for this one, but it's really it's this is what I'm saying, where it's this is literally the Josh Allen effect, and I don't know why he's garnering so much respect when he has it's not earned yet. So Buffalo is at home, which really, if we want to get this game should technically be in a neutral site. Since he would have won that game versus them that got canceled, they would be in second seed, and this game would be in Cincy. So they definitely got screwed there. But usually Vegas will give two teams that I think are even. Usually they give the home team 3 points because they're the home team. That's kind of like the baseline. It started off at 4.5. It has now moved to 5.5 Buffalo. So I locked it in at plus 4.5 because I think the Bengals win the game outright.
Yeah, I think
but
so
now
too.
that it's moved to plus 5, I'm double dipping. I bet 4.5 and I bet 5.5. And like I said, I think they went outright, but I'm gonna stay away from them ML. But it kind of questions because while the media loves Burrow, they also obviously they're completely gushing over Josh Allen for whatever reason. So I can see them still trying to give him this game. But if they give Buffalo the game, I think it's like Buffalo wins by 4 on a late touchdown or they kick a field goal to win it. I don't see them blowing this Bengals team out, especially with the consistency they're playing at right now on the offensive side of the ball. But yeah, I think 5.5 is way too much. I thought 4.5 was too much. But the Bengals are getting disrespected, and I think Josh Allen gonna go in there and have some questionable turnovers, questionable plays, and the Bengals gonna be able to throw the ball all over them because the Bills don't have Von Miller, even though people are like, well, they got a good defense. Like they got a good defense because part of their stats are from the beginning of the year when they have Von Miller, and they were a great defense. They don't have him anymore to get to Joe Burrow. They have decent defensive linemen, but it's not Von Miller. So while the Cincinnati Bengals line is banged up, I don't think they're gonna be completely wrecking havoc on Cincinnati's line. And then their back end, I don't think Tre'Davious White is gonna be able to hold Jamar Chase like that. And then on the flip side, you got T. Higgins and Boyd. So I think Joe Burrow is gonna dice them up plus 4.5, plus 5.5. Take it to the bank, man. I think that they win the game. Like I said, I also have them in that teaser with over, I think it's 43.5, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, over or just over 43. Over 43 in my teaser. And then I also have them in another teaser. It's Cincy plus 12, the 49ers Cowboys over 39, and then the Bills and Bengals over 40.5. So yeah, the line kept moving. I don't know why, but yeah, that teaser I threw a unit on that, and that's also a plus 140 teaser as well. So yeah, man, couple teasers, couple picks, and that's my lineup for the day. But like I said, I think Cincy wins. You think Joe Burrow gets the job done, or Josh Allen finds a way because he's media's fanboy?
I think the Bengals win this game. I think, like you said, I think they win outright. I just feel like they're the better team. They're the more healthier team in a way, I would say. I don't really know if it's gonna be a close game or not. I would imagine it would be, but if you really think about it, in that regular season game before DeMar went down, the Bengals was
Having
on the
their
road
way.
to like do whatever they wanted to do against the Bills. So maybe it'll be like that, maybe not. What if DeMar Hamlin show up to this game and kind of like elect, it'd be like a little movie or whatever, and the crowd go electric and stuff like that, and they try to play for him or whatever. But I think either way, I think the Bengals win this game. I think the Bengals win this game outright. These last two games that the Bills has played, like even in what was that week 18, whatever.
They should have lost if it
They
wasn't for
should
Nyheim Hines returning 2 kicks for a touchdown.
Exactly. Like you're not gonna get that like ever. Like you're not gonna get like you know how tough it is to at least get like one kickoff return.
And that's the crazy thing. The first one was their first kickoff return for a touchdown in 3 years and 3 months exactly. So number 3 for DeMar.
Number 3.
So maybe DeMar's luck can just keep pushing them all the way through to the Super Bowl run. What a great story for them. Imagine, but I think it all comes to the end for real.
I think it all comes to the end too. But hey, we'll see. I think, like I said, I think the Bengals win this game outright. So
yeah. So yeah, man, that's the plays. That's our picks that we going with for the weekend. Who we think win, but like I said, just gonna sit back, chill, enjoy some great, what should be some great NFL playoff football. Telling y'all, man, if y'all listening, that Travis Kelce stuff, it's real. I'm telling you, as a fan that's watched every second of every playoff game my whole life, 24, I done seen a lot of bad playoff games with the Chiefs, and I done watched every second of this Patrick Mahomes era. Travis Kelce he gonna get his in the playoffs. That's that's when they show up their best. And I kind of think like, while people were saying, oh, y'all aren't, y'all are winning, but y'all are winning close versus bad teams. They're kind of lollygagging a little bit because like we just want to make it to the playoffs healthy, and then we can unleash everything because it's playoff football. I think it's kind of one of those things again this year. And Jags game could get ugly. They get, Trevor Lawrence ain't lost Saturday. So like you were saying, something got to give. But I think this is going to be his first Saturday loss. And I think it could get ugly quick, depending on, if we really come out how we should. And even though we did it, obviously, last year to the Bengals, I don't see us blowing a lead. Hopefully not, knock on wood. But the Jaguars don't want to get down 27-0 to us. That's not a good thing in Arrowhead. They were at home last week. 27-0 in Arrowhead. We don't blow some leads, but I don't think we blown a lead like that in Arrowhead. So, yeah, man. Eagles Giants, I'm just looking forward to a good game. That's going to be a straight dogfight between two NFC East opponents. The Bengals, I think Joe Burrow wins. And at that point, people really can't make the argument that Josh Allen is even second. Because he still don't deserve to be over Mahomes. Now, Joe Burrow will be 1-0 versus him in the playoffs. And that'll be their only game they play since the regular season one got canceled. But, yeah, at that point, you got to put Allen third. And then 49ers, Cowboys to end it off. Sorry, Cowboys fans. Y'all had a great year, but this 49er team is just so fucking loaded. It's really y'all played y'all's A game versus the Bucks. Y'all gonna have to play y'all's A++ game this weekend to beat the 49ers. And I don't see that one happening, but I think it's gonna be a nice game and a tough game. And if y'all can't get Purdy to finally have a bad game and cough up the ball, then yeah, I think y'all can win. But I don't see that necessarily happening. But we'll see. I can be wrong. But yeah, I ended wildcard weekend almost 5-1 heading into the Monday night game. Then all three Buccaneers picks were wrong. So I finished 5-4. But yeah, feeling good about these divisional picks, man. And we're gonna bounce back this week. Appreciate if y'all listen all the way through. Lace y'all up on some game. So take it to the bank if you listening. But yeah, man, y'all already know what it is. Your favorite kids from the neighborhood signing out with another episode. NFL divisional round coming up this week. We'll see y'all next week to recap and head into conference championship week. We almost to the end, baby. It's a couple more weeks and the NFL is over, but we'll see y'all then.
Is there
I need